Not all Pokemon are cut from the same cloth, especially in Pokemon Draft League. Some are so broken to the point of being banned in the format altogether. Obvious ones include your box art legends, like say Kyogre and Groudon. But what about the less obvious ones? How can a Pokemon with an HP stat of 55 and a defense stat of 65 be considered ungodly broken in this counter team format? That's what we'll look into today, where we explain what makes Mega Alakazam so broken in Pokemon Draft League. Keep in mind, we will be looking at Mega Alakazam in both a Generation 7 context, as that is when it was last in the game, and from the context of national decks. If you guys do enjoy today's video talking about Mega Alakazam and how it is so broken, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. We're on our way to 5,000 subs by the end of the year, and your sub really helps out smaller creators like myself reach their goals. That being said, let's jump into it. Let's start off with its stat spread. Mega Alakazam is rocking out with 55 HP, 50 attack, 65 defense, 175 special attack, 105 special defense, and 150 speed. This is about as min-max as Pokemon can get stat spread wise. Where Mega Alakazam lacks in HP, attack, and defense, it makes up for big time in its special attack, special defense, and speed. 175 special attack is staggeringly strong. This is by far the strongest raw special attack stat of any other legal Pokemon in the Sun and Moon games. Heck, even in national decks, nothing really comes close. With the standard yet potent offensive psychic coverage of Psychic/Psyshock, Focus Blast, and Shadow Ball, there really isn't much that can reliably check Zam in the game, provided it can hit the ever-risky Focus Blast into Dark and Steel types. It also has the option of Dazzling Gleam to hit Dark types a little bit more reliably for a little bit less damage. However, one stat doesn't make a Pokemon broken. Otherwise, we'd be making a video on Xurkitree next. This 175 special attack stat is supported perfectly by a game-warping 150 speed. If you guys remember our last video in the series, we mentioned how Chien-Pao outsped 99% of the Paldea deck's metagame. Pao is 15 base speed lower than Zam. Mega Zam could theoretically run a modest nature into Chien-Pao, a Pokemon faster than 99% of its meta. The only Pokemon faster than Mega Zam in Generation 7 that is allowed is Ninjask, a Pokemon never actually drafted, and Deoxys Speed, a Pokemon very often banned. And even then, Deoxys threatens 0 Okos on a properly invested Zam, which can very often afford a lot of bulk. If we look at it from a Natdex perspective, we gain one more non-Scarf Zam Revenger, Regieleki. 3 Pokemon that can naturally outspeed it in-game is insane. The 150 speed tier also allows Zam to outpace Scarfers with a base speed of 83 and below, so a Scarf isn't always an option to revenging it. What about its terrible bulk though, especially on the physical side? Who cares how strong you are if you drop to any stray physical attack? Well, that's honestly not the case with Mega Zam. Sure, its stats in those areas look abhorrent, but it has multiple ways of patching its weaknesses. The first is its speed and special attack stats. I'm sure you're wondering, YouTube man, what in the world does Zam's speed and special attack have to do with its physical bulk? Well, as we mentioned before, Zam's base stats in those areas are insane. Because of this, Zam seldom has to invest fully to do the job. Let's take speed for example. Let's say hypothetically my opponent's fastest Pokemon is Tornadus Therian, a pretty decently fast threat. With a plus speed nature, max speed Tornadus hits 375 speed at level 100. Mega Alakazam can outspeed that with either this modest spread, allowing it to hit extremely hard, or this timid spread, allowing Zam to become deceptively physically bulky. Wait, why physically defensive though? I thought Zam's biggest weakness was its poor physical bulk. Yes, it 100% is, but that's why Zam's stat spread is so good. Your speed and special attack stats are so naturally high that they very often require very little investment. This allows Zam to spec into its much lower bulk, and alongside setup moves like Calm Mind and Nasty Plot in Generation 8 and 9 Nat decks, and Barrier especially, you snowball very quickly. In fact, Barrier is what sets Zam over the top for many people. Once people started experimenting with the move, they realized they could make Zam borderline unkillable. Let's take a look at one of Zam's perceived harder counters in Drapion. With its Dark Poison typing, it's not only immune to Psychic, but takes neutral damage from Dazzling Gleam and Focus Blast. Now, it would need an Assault Vest and pretty hefty investment to take on more offensive Mega Zam's Focus Blast, but it could do so pretty well and threaten it with strong Dark Stab, or even Pursuit Trap it on the switch out, eliminating it from play entirely. That is until you take into account Barrier variants. Take a look at Zam boosted by Barrier in either Crunch or Knockoff from non-invested Drapion. Obviously, being more offensive is an option, but you still don't 2-hit KO, and you get smoked by more offensive Zam variants if you don't go fully bulky. The guessing game of finding out whether Zam is an obnoxious setup variant or an insane breaker/cleaner is what makes it so oppressive. Keep in mind this Drapion example is looking at one of Zam's harder counters. If you're not Drapion, Alolan Muck, or Skuntank You do not switch into Zam's Psychic plus its coverage. You're always one prediction away from getting nuked and losing the game. Mega Alakazam is incredibly fast, incredibly strong, has insane coverage, and can honestly be very versatile offensively and defensively. Are there Pokemon that can beat Mega Alakazam depending on its set? Yes. Can you beat it by simply being nimble with your Dark type and dodging a Focus Blast? Also yes. However, the issue with Zam lies within these coin flips. There are no ways to guaranteed check or beat a well-prepped or played Zam, and that makes it inherently broken. That's going to be the next episode, and why it's broken, I guess, is kind of the makeshift name for the series. I know it's been a while since the last one. I really want to go hard with more scripted content, more draft discussion videos, so if you have any more Pokemon you want me to cover in this series, or different concepts in general, or discussions you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. Again, if you enjoyed, please drop a like on the video. It really helps me out, and sub especially. I would really, really appreciate it. And yeah, that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.